This is Into the Fire.
I'd like to welcome to Into the Fire the highly talented midfielder, two-time junior All-Australian, under-18 All-Australian captain, All-Australian in the 2020 AFLW season, and winner of the Giants' Best and Fairest last year, the left-footed gun, Alyce Parker. Nice to meet you, Alyce.
Wow, what an introduction. Thanks for having me, Liam.
I know, it's pretty good. I heard Holbrook isn't very big. It's actually so small. The whole town played to make the numbers up in a game of footy. Okay, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's small. I bet you killed the league there. Did you have to play against the boys?
Absolutely, I did. I played my first game as an 11-year-old girl in it was a team full of boys. It was Paul Kelly Cup, so we were in year 5 and 6, and I was the only girl running around with a group of boys. So you can imagine it's a little bit scary at times, but I absolutely loved it. But yeah, that's what footy was like back then. There wasn't many of us girls running around, particularly at that age.
Yeah. Your dad was a wheat farmer, so I guess he bailed you up and asked if footy was your thing. Sorry, just had to use the bail joke. Did your dad love his
Pardon?
Did your dad love his footy?
He did. Yep, Dad grew up playing footy. He played for Mangapla, which is a small town near us, and he won many premierships. So Dad was definitely the one that taught me how to kick pretty much as soon as I started walking. But yeah, so he loves that I play my footy, and we've been kicking a ball with each other since I was very young.
Yeah, sounds like an awesome guy. Now, from all reports, you're a very talented sports person and tried a few sports before footy: cricket, basketball, netball, tennis, swimming, athletics, and cross country. Come on, let's brag how good you were. You gave up being an Olympic swimmer, didn't you? All right, let's make that a story.
I did play many sports, and I loved them all. The story of my childhood was pretty much putting my hand up for any opportunity I could with sport, and I was definitely missing way too many days at school because I was off playing representative sport or club sport or traveling. So my poor parents drove thousands and thousands of kilometers each year taking me to sport. But yes, at one stage I had made it to state level in 7 different sports, so it was a very busy year. But that's how much I love my sport.
Yeah, it sounds busy. Now, you ultimately were drawn to AFL. What made you choose that sport after you tried it in year 7? How did you initially go with it? Also, are you trying to tell me you went to Billabong School? That is not a real place. I mean, I ate Billabong ice cream the other day.
Oh, you've done well with your background and your history. You're spot on. But yeah, that's one of my favorite questions as to why I chose football. So for me, I didn't want to actually choose one sport because I wanted to keep playing them all. And as I was getting older, I definitely had people, mentors, people helping me, and that the close people to me were saying that it's probably a time where I need to choose one or a couple if I really want to excel or make it to the highest level. But I was constantly telling them that I didn't want to, and I just wanted to keep playing as many sports for as long as I could. But I definitely got to a time where the decision was starting to make itself. I found myself being more attracted to different sports over others. So by the end of it, I was playing my footy and netball, and this is when I was the age of 18, so just before I was drafted. And it got to the point where I was loving my football so much that I actually found myself in netball training and I guess on the games too with netball that I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as I used to, but I think that's just because I wanted to keep playing footy and I wanted to play as much footy as I could. So from going from 7 sports and cutting down to 2, by the end of it, the decision was easy because I was loving my football too much and it's all I wanted to do. And to answer your question as to why I chose it, it's very different to all those other sports, particularly being a young girl when not many of us played football or it was accepted that we could play football. From going from a non-contact sport in netball and running out on the footy field and being able to tackle anyone you wanted to, it's just too much fun. That would be my answer. Footy's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it would have been hard to balance all those sports back then.
Absolutely. It was challenging, but no, I like that that's part of my journey.
Yeah. Now, you made the under-18 All-Australian team 2 years in a row. What a champ. That must have given you a huge buzz.
It did. Yes, I it was at that period in my life that I was still playing other sports. But when you're enjoying something, it makes it easy to play well. So I loved coming through the New South Wales pathway and coming up against the Victorians, who are extremely talented and very tough to come against, particularly in the youth girls pathway. But I was loving it. And off the back of that, I was able to be quite successful. But yeah, that's where I think I met way too many friends and had too much fun. So it allowed me to play good football.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Being the All-Australian captain is a huge honour. You must have had a great carnival that year. What was it like? Not only playing against the likes of Lucy McAvoy, Georgia Patricos, and Gabby Newton, who I've interviewed, but captaining those players and players like Maddie Prasparkas and Nina Morrison on paper, at least it must have been cool.
It was very cool. It was a huge compliment to me. I remember when it got announced, I was incredibly shocked. Definitely wasn't expected, but yeah, there's not many things that I guess, or the support from people to actually put you in that position as captain goes to show how people think of you, or I guess are really happy with the way that you're going and the path you're taking. So it was a huge compliment for me, and really good in my development as to keep pushing and keep developing.
Yeah, it would have been amazing. Now, Holbrook, New South Wales, it's actually closer to Melbourne than Sydney. It's actually 492 kilometres away from Sydney. It must have been daunting heading to the Big Smoke to join the Giants, and only 2 weeks to get down there. Were you nervous?
I was incredibly nervous. I don't think anything in my whole life I've been as nervous for as that. So you're right, though. I had 2 weeks to pretty much move, and I was moving off a 1,500-acre farm into a high-rise apartment with 2 bedroom, which was incredibly small. So it was very different environments, and I'm still adjusting 3 years later. It's definitely not the same. You don't get the farm lifestyle in Sydney. It's a very busy place, but I'm learning to love Sydney for what it is, and it is a beautiful city, but it's never going to be home.
How's the traffic there?
It's shocking. Even to get to training today, Liam, it took about 30 minutes, and it probably should have taken 10.
Yeah. Now, after all your hard work, that you were drafted at pick 12, that must have been a great moment. Talk me through the draft experience. Did you already know that you were going at pick 12?
I didn't know. It was an amazing moment. It's pretty much, I think the first thought is you think of all the things you've sacrificed and the trainings for so long, and you've finally reached the end product of being drafted. But the moment it happened, I had my under 18 coach, Alyce Parker, sitting next to me, which definitely probably made it extremely special, being able to share it with her. So yeah, as soon as my name got called out, it was a massive relief, a lot of excitement, but yeah, the nerves started to kick in knowing that I had to move in a couple of weeks into one of the biggest cities in Australia.
Yeah, it would have been nerve-wracking. Now, another great experience is the first game. And you had an okay start to your career. Okay, let's be honest. You smashed it, taking 18 disposals at 72% disposal efficiency, 4 marks and laying 3 tackles. If that wasn't good enough, you won the Rising Star nomination in your first game. Easy game, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely not. But thanks for recalling my stats. I had no idea I did that. But yeah, I was very nervous for that game. It was the first time I think I'd ever run out with the team song playing, which now is quite normal. But when you're an 18-year-old kid and you run it was in Brisbane, playing against a very tough side and looking alongside me, having Amanda Farrugia as our captain, and she was running right next to me. I had to remind myself that she's my teammate now, which was very, very cool. But playing in a good supportive team like they were that year and definitely still are, it helps you to play good footy yourself.
Yeah, and it was an outstanding game. Now, beside the narrow loss, which would have been disappointing, how was it to run out on an AFL ground in the big league? Did you get out there and just think, wow, I'm actually here?
I did. Like I said, I probably had to remind myself that I'd actually made it. That was my first game, but to contradict myself, I also had to remind myself that it's just another game of footy. So all I had to do was pretty much do what I've been doing for the last 6 years. That's how long I've been playing for it at the time. So yeah, it was a moment where it was surreal, but at the same time, I wanted to keep calm and remind myself it's just play football.
Yeah. Now, I found it funny that Alan McConnell, your coach, asked you prior to your debuting if you thought you should play. You should have said, no, I think I'll wait till next year. I mean, come on.
It was a very tough question, wasn't it? I wasn't quite sure how to answer it. But I definitely, I felt like I'd worked hard and put myself in a good position in order to play football and earn my spot in the team. So that would have been my answer if I had more time to think about it.
Yeah. Now, the team had a bit of an up and down season this year, finishing with a bit of a nail-biting loss to Carlton in the last round. How would you sum up 2021 for both you and the team?
Yeah, so personally, I felt like I had taken my game to another level, which is something I have tried to do every year. I'm always looking to try and be better, but definitely in a team perspective, it was, disappointing that we were inconsistent at times, and you always want to finish with more wins and losses. And that last game, going into it with 4 wins, 4 losses, we wanted to finish with a winning season, and we just couldn't quite get there. So it was devastating to hear the siren go, particularly with those last 5 minutes. They were very intense, and we had some opportunities, but we just couldn't get the ball through the sticks. So it was disappointing, but a lot of positives to take out of it. But we hope to improve 5 wins next season.
Oh, well, you get them next. Now, time to see how well you go with these questions. Who do you think will win this year?
I'm going to have to put I think Brisbane. I think they've been too tough, particularly in the back end of the season. And obviously playing against them myself, they're one of I would say probably the toughest team I've ever played against.
Yeah, I think I'd go with you. Who will win the league's best and fairest?
Oh, it'd have to be Kiara Bowers, Turbo, who actually used to be a mentor of mine when I was in the under-18 pathway. So you can see that she's had an amazing season, incredible performances every week. And we just saw that she took out the coaches' votes, which was no surprise. She's an incredible talent.
Yeah, she is. Who was the toughest person on the field?
Toughest opponent, good question. I'd say there's 2, and one would be Turbo herself. She's very smart, but knows how to be defensive, but also is incredibly good attacking the ball. But Bree Davey, a very strong player. It's very, very hard to move her with her strength and the way that she uses the balls and the decisions she makes. She's been playing footy for a very long time. I think she's incredibly experienced and a good player.
Yeah, 2 great players there. Who is the biggest trash talker?
Trash talker. Oh, I think Emma Carney can be quite funny out on the field, but she's also very smart in what she says, so I'd have to go with her.
Yep, I'd interview her, and I would definitely agree with that one. If they were running at you full speed, who would you consider stepping out the way from?
Oh, good question. Wow, if you look at Turbo's tackle stats, she's got more tackles than anyone by the length of the straight. So it would absolutely be her. She's ruthless in her tackling. That's why she's so good at it.
Yeah, good answer. Who do you watch and just think, wow, they are skillful?
Someone like a Georgia Patrikios. She's a very, very talented player. She's got excellent skills, and I played with and against her in the youth girls pathway, and now playing against her in the AFLW. She's transitioned very easily into AFLW, so she's probably one of the most skillful players I've ever seen.
Yeah. Who do you still get a bit starstruck around?
My answer would have to be Cora Staunton. She's the most famous player in our team, and she knows she's famous too. No, she definitely doesn't. But Cora Staunton, she's a queen. She's the queen from Ireland.
Oh yeah, Cora Staunton is your housemate. Do you just love listening to her voice? What is she like?
I absolutely love her accent. We all love it. But she's an amazing person, and I'm lucky enough to know her as a friend, a housemate, a teammate, and she's also a mentor to me too. So, she's an amazing athlete. She's got incredible years of experience, and you see that in the way that she plays her football, but also the way she carries herself around the club and with training and things like that. So, she's an amazing individual, but I find her very funny, and I love her accent.
Yeah, I love the good old Irish accent. Now, she is 39 years young. Does she realize she should be slowing down, not getting better? She is amazing, isn't she? Time to say nice things. Cook tea for you.
She's 39, but she's definitely not slowing down. She's had the best season that she's had. I think she's been here for 4 years. So she doesn't play like she's 39. So I reckon she could at least get to 45 and still be playing.
Yeah. Okay, Alyce, you're elite, but there is one thing that's missing. A little thing in your game. It ain't skills, mate, because you're elite. You're special in so many ways, but the one thing that needs to change is your lack of goals. Come on, Alyce. Goals are where the money is. You have to go forward, stop the team thing, and get the glory. And when you do, you can use my celebration, the greatest celebration in history, the Into the Fire.
Oh, wow. That's definitely not as good as my celebration because I never use it. But yes, I do need to kick more goals, don't I? It's something that I haven't done much of. In fact, I've only ever kicked one, but I think I've kicked I think we're up to 11 points. So that's an absolute awful tally to have. So I hope next year to be kicking more goals, or probably more so I'd love our team to be kicking more goals.
Yeah, and remember to bring that one out. Well, Alyce, it was a lot of fun talking to you today. You're an elite talent and a super person. You're going to be a star of the comp and someone young girls look up to for years to come. Thanks for chatting to me.
Thank you very much, Liam. It has been fun.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure.